What's up, everybody? It's Sunday morning. Real early, because that's what I got to do these days to get it done. Not that I haven't had ample opportunity to get this week's show done. This was one of those where I got real fired up about this show like 4 days ago and basically wrote the whole show in 10 minutes. And then went on about my life and then just kind of lost a little bit of it. Like, you ever do that when you get real inspired to do something and this is going to be a great message and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and then 4 days later you're like struggling to find how you're going to get the same message across? So, point of that story, we should probably just take advantage of things as they come. Probably should have stopped what I was doing right then, hit the record button, and got it all out there. I think the message would have hit different, but maybe we'll see how it goes. Audio update. I've got the lead on a pretty cool little device that plugs into your phone, and then I would wear like a lapel mic, and then you wanted to be a guest on a show, that person would wear a lapel mic, and it's supposed to be pretty cool. I saw it in person the other day. So Amazon has it. It's in the cart. Just waiting for my wife to give me permission to pull the trigger. Correction on last week's show. So our friend of the show, BVL, who we all prayed for last week, and I think we should pray for again this week. I think we should make it a habit. So if you go to bed at night and you say, you talk to Jesus, and you're thanking him for this and you're thanking him for that, just throw BVL in there every night, and we'll see where it goes. But anyway, he sent me a message basically saying I was dumb and said potassium is milliequivalents, and allegedly I said meta equivalent, which isn't a word, but I could see where he thinks maybe I said that. He doesn't hear well, and I mumble. So between the two of those things, I'm sure it came off that way. So potassium, amongst other electrolytes, some of them are mill equivalents, not met equivalents. Correction. Let's get into this week's show. I don't really have a lot of other updates other than the weather's being real up and down, kind of annoyed, but it is fall. Football's going, baseball, October baseball. If you're a Mets fan like me, holy crap. Game 2 with the Phillies is today. Put that on the DVR. Other than that, not much going on. Business as usual. This week's show, the title of it. So, what is an occupational athlete? We'll get into that in a second, or at least what I think an occupational athlete is, and how I first heard of the term. And I don't even know if somebody from the department made that shit up or if it's an actual real deal, but I'll tell you how I got introduced to it and what my thoughts are on how we should apply this to our job and why we're not applying it to our job, and some quick tips on how to get your mind right for your shift. But first, I said last week I was going to end the show with my supplement list. So we went over my basic metabolic panel. Pretty much everything's right on. I do take supplements. I do not take a long list of them. I do take a handful that I think are beneficial if you're interested in listening. So the first one obviously is a men's daily vitamin. Pretty standard issue. Take it in the morning with my first meal of the day. It's got a lot of B12 in it, calcium, magnesium, iodine. It's also got iodine in it, which is, for those that don't know, I'm talking centuries ago, people on the East Coast, I think, mined salt a little bit or got salt from China, and they didn't have any problems with what they call goiter. Well, the people in the Midwest, they would get a lot of goiter, which is like just a big mass on your neck, and it was because of an iodine deficiency. So salt has iodine, and it's from an iodine deficiency. So this vitamin has iodine in it. Just pro tip. We clearly don't have any problems now with goiter. This was covered wagon days, I think, maybe even sooner. But that's number one. Number two, I also take a vitamin D supplement. You can find it at Sam's, you can find it at Costco. I got big into vitamin D during COVID when they were showing, before they canceled all the smart people that were making good common sense about science. One of the things they found in a lot of COVID patients was a vitamin D deficiency. But D is metabolized by the sun through your skin, through the liver, makes vitamin D. It's real hard to get it from your food, although you can get it from dietary sources. Real hard to get. So I started taking a supplement. I started taking it before I even knew what my vitamin D levels were. And so I just assumed, which I get is dangerous, but um, that I was probably low just because it seems like 90% of the people, American people, were low. Even though, despite the fact that I'm in the sun a lot in the summer, obviously it's harder to metabolize that stuff in the winter when we're not out as much and when the sun's farther from the earth. So I started taking it and then pulled my labs probably after, let's see, this is 2024. So I probably didn't get a vitamin D level for 2 years at. So I take one a day with my multivitamin. Probably didn't for 2 years. And was still, I'm in the high 60s, I think. So I think optimal is 75. So I'm still a little short. But just like anything else, you can take too much. So just be cautious of that. But anyway, helps my immune system. I really think I'm less sick. I didn't get sick much before. Never sick enough during COVID to feel like I needed to take a test to find out if I had it. Generally a pretty healthy person. I did come down with something this about a month ago that was just god awful. I was in bed for half a day and felt like death the other half a day, and then day 3 was over it. I'm not sure where that came from, but that's rare. I take omega-3 I take omega-3 fish oils. I have every day, probably since when I talked about raising my HDLs. So what was that, 20 years ago? That was like the number one strategy to raise your HDLs was take a fish oil. And I've taken that ever since. I believe in those 3, 6, and 9 omega-3s. 3, 6, and 9 is good for your heart. So those are what I take in the morning. So I take a vitamin D, men's daily vitamin, and then my omega-3s in the morning. At night, I take it's like a polymineral supplement. So there's a bunch of minerals in one. So it's calcium, magnesium, and zinc all in one. And I take that at night because magnesium helps me sleep. I think like it's shown to be something that can relax you, reduce your stress, smooth muscle relaxant. The other thing it does is it helps me metabolize my vitamin D supplement. So it also helps me absorb calcium, obviously for strong bones. It's good for recovery after a workout, which is why I take it at night. Is when your body's busy recovering from whatever you did today, whether it was working out, running a marathon, just doing your job. It helps me recover. So I take that at night. The other supplements I take, whey protein, obviously a big bag of whey protein in the house all the time. Mix it in with my yogurt. Sometimes I just have a shake. Anytime you're short on your protein goals for the day, it's readily available, absorbed post-workout. Doesn't make a difference. I also take collagen protein. I kind of got turned on to that probably 5 years ago. For connective tissue, skin, that kind of stuff. I mix that in my yogurt every night, 2 scoops. I don't know. Like, I feel good. I don't know if it's because of the collagen protein or not. It's really kind of hard to pin down on whether or not. But I mean, I feel strong. My skin, I think, looks good for a fellow my age. If that's a thing. Creatine. Everybody should be on creatine. Boys, girls, kids, adults. Doesn't make a difference. You can't. It's the most studied supplement in the history of the world. and it is also probably the most, is that a thing? The safest, one of the safest supplements you can ever take. My kids take it. I take it. My 13-year-old daughter takes it. Like, there's been studies on infants, I think, that can take it. Like, improves muscle recovery, improves brain function. Your body makes it. It just doesn't make enough of it. So you just add 5 milligrams a day, one scoop. I either put that in my yogurt or my post-workout shake if I have one, or mix it in my oatmeal, whatever. You can find a spot for it. Everybody should be taking that. So that's basically it. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 supplements, maybe. Just as a quick tip, as a guy that's been using supplements since he was basically 16 years old. So do the math. That's a long time. 98% of the shit that you find in supplement stores are bullshit. It's all, nothing except for testosterone is going to boost your testosterone if you're a dude. Okay. So if you're tired and you're not chasing the misses around the house as much as you used to, it's probably because you're 20 pounds overweight and haven't gone on a walk in a year. It's not because you haven't taken testofen. Right? It's just not, it's not a thing. Eat better, do better, be better. That's what's going to boost. But anyway, supplements are tribal. Everybody's got their thing, and everybody's got their defensive things. Fat burners don't really burn fat. So like if you're gonna go get a bottle of fat burners, I think it's probably just mostly caffeine that's gonna make you want to work in the gym, work out more. But it's not gonna burn fat. It's gonna make you have more energy to burn calories. The only thing that burns fat is being in a caloric deficit. So we're gonna talk about. I'm real passionate about like just health and wellness and fitness and weight loss, and if I have to add some validity to why that is I was certified as a personal trainer at one time, endorsed through the National Strength and Conditioning Association, for whatever that means. Probably means less now, 20 years later, than it did then. I have lost a bunch of weight and kept it off. I'm probably, the beginning of my career responsible for other people losing a bunch of weight and keeping it off. So you don't have to, you don't have to have a lot of data. You don't have to have a big brain, a degree in physiology to understand any of this kind of stuff. That most of health and wellness gets lost in the weeds, because if it's not a brand, people will not buy into it. The only thing you need to buy into really is eat better and do better. But you can't make money on that. So here we are with supplement stores and infomercials and YouTube videos, which is probably why it's super overwhelming for people to try to figure out how to not necessarily be Mr. Olympia, which is a whole nother science, but just drop 10 or 15 pounds just to feel just a little bit better, and to move just a little bit better, and to be just a little bit better, to have a little more energy at the end of the day, or right? Like, we're not trying to rebuild. We're not trying to build Captain America's here. We're just trying to be a little bit better. And it's so easy. It's so simple, which is where I think people lose it, is because of the simplicity of it. It certainly can't be that simple, Jason. If it can't be that easy, if it's that simple, it's got to be complex and hard. That's why I'm not doing it, because it's very complex and hard for me to lose 10 pounds. It's easier for me just to eat what I want and watch Netflix all day, and I can do whatever I want. Okay. I got on a little bit rant there, but let's get back into occupational athlete and what I think it means. And I don't even know if this is I did zero research on this, because I'm not interested really in the internet telling me my opinion. I want to know, this is how I got to be. What's it mean? I think so. Back in our heyday, in West Des Moines, one of our firefighters, Will Jess, really got into the CrossFit space, as a lot of us did. We converted all of our gyms to CrossFit. And I think I first heard the term occupational athlete from him. And it might have been one of those where we're like, man, did you just make that shit up? Or it might be on the internet. I don't know. But anyway, his theory was, and I'm 100% behind him, was that, and I'm going to paraphrase, I don't really know what his theory is. My theory is this: you're going to show up to work. That's game day. Okay? You're going to show up to your job. You're there to perform. You're there to do physical tasks. You're there to lift people up off the ground. You're there to move people, push and pull people from waist height. You're there to climb in and out of your apparatus. You're there to think quickly at 2 a.m. And to be, and this is just me, and this is just EMS. Okay, so if you're a cop, you're there to run. You may have to chase somebody. Like if you're a firefighter, you need to control your breathing at 2 a.m. If you're packed up and on the second floor of a home or building that's full of smoke, like these are all performance things, just like an athlete would perform on game day. So that being said, it stands to reason that most athletes prepare for game day, meaning they train. And I don't mean just cognitively. Like we in EMS train a whole lot on muscle memory skills, right? On tactile skills. We get our hands in something. We assemble things, and then we perform interventions, and we do it, hopefully second nature, and we have to use our brain a lot. But I don't know that, but physically, I think we take for granted the fact that we are in somebody's home built in 1946 in the back part of the home, and they are on the floor, and we have to figure out how to get equipment and move people out of there. And that takes physical ability. We may be down a steep bank during a vehicle rollover where we have to carry somebody up that steep bank or carry things down that steep bank. And I don't think that we understand so much in EMS what a physical performance that is and how we can make those physical performances better. I'll say that in a second. So how do we compare what we do with game day? Well, we know when the game day's coming. It's our shift day. We wear uniforms. So we're going to take some time and we're going to make sure that we look good, right? We're going to iron our pants and our shirts. We're going to shine our boots. We train, at least in EMS, we train on the cognitive side. We perform. So you go to any softball complex today on a Sunday and there's going to be 1,000 people there. And Susie's sister is going to play on the jungle gym and she's going to fall and break her arm. Enter you. There's a crowd. You're performing. You may have to get Susie's sister up off the ground, or Susie's sister might be in a precarious situation that you got to figure out how to get out of. Now you're performing in front of a crowd. And then you got to recover. So you're going to perform for 24 hours. There's going to be a recovery period after that. And what you do and how you spend that time then manifests itself in your next game day, right? So if we're recovering good, we're going to perform good. So I'll get into that in a second. Even if you never played sports in high school or college, you understand that that we go out there into the community to perform. And it is at the highest level we should be performing. People are watching what you do. And if you're fumbling and if you're tripping and if you can't keep your britches pulled up or you can't get down into a good position or you're not physically capable of picking somebody up and then you drop that person, people are watching, and that does not bode well for our community. So the occupational athlete mentality at least puts people, in my opinion, in the mindset of, oh, there are some things I have to physically accomplish to do my job. And if I adopt it, this does not mean you have to go on 8-mile runs every day and rip a bunch of 315-pound deadlifts, and you have to be a Division I athlete to do this job. This is not what I'm saying. But in EMS, in my opinion, this is my opinion, we have a big discrepancy from the one percenters to the rest of to a large portion of the community. And I think some of that has to do with department standards, right? So to get a job, you have to perform a certain physical standard, but then nobody reassesses that standard throughout your career. So congratulations, you put a 70-pound dumbbell on the end of a cot, you loaded the cot in the ambulance, you're hired. But we don't monitor degradation as we go through our career, right? So all of a sudden, 15 years later, we're 20 pounds heavier. We haven't lifted anything except for the last patient, and we're a little less able to get into a good lifting position. Oh, there goes our back. Now we're out on back injury. And what do we say? I'm just getting old. The job is doing this to me. Just isn't true. Like, you just have done nothing to preserve yourself in this job. So, are you a statistic? Yeah. Whatever the statistic is for EMS people and chronic back injuries, disability, whatever that is. I'm going to look it up. You see what I'm saying? When all we needed to do was some simple things throughout our career to keep ourselves in better general condition, to be more durable. And that is what I think the occupational athlete is. So anyway, and we had a small cohort of people that kept each other accountable. We would post things on the internet, like if somebody posted a workout, we'd be like, oh, I did it in 8 minutes, and somebody else did it in 7 minutes, and then, God damn it, I got beat, and I hate getting beat, so I would try harder next time. I get that not all departments, and that was just, but there was the same for as many people as that like bought into it. There was a larger amount of people that didn't, and then just wanted to be left alone, just wanted to do their shift, just wanted to eat as much spaghetti as they could fit in their pants, and then sit down and watch cops. And then, if they happen to go on a call at 2 a.m, well, that was just bad luck. And then the next day they would recover with, donuts and coffee. And then the perpetual cycle was 2 years later, we're now 30 pounds overweight, and it's harder to do our job. And so now you're a liability. So you lack capability to do your job. And so now all of that responsibility would fall on members of your team. So what I think occupational athlete means is getting ready for your job physically and mentally. And I think that there's some quick things, there's some easy things that we can do to do that. That's what this is about. So one of the big things you can do if you want to get job ready is start preparing the day before with your meals. Meal prep. So what this does is now it puts the control on you and not necessarily your employer to feed you, or for you to trust your employer to give you nutrient dense food at quantities that are not over what you should be eating. And so whether you have a cafeteria or whether you have, lunch on admin or whatever it is, you put the control on you. So the day before, make up a bunch of food. Make it into serving sizes that would allow you to not overeat that day. Because if you don't, what happens is now you're trusting that fast food joint is open at 2 a.m. when you're real hungry. And so we rarely get scheduled meals. Average people, most people not in our job, get a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a couple snacks. Well, you may not eat breakfast. Your first meal might not be till noon. And so now it's lunch. And so if you don't have a meal plan and you're starving because it's been 5 hours since you got up out of bed and now you're just, what are you going to do? You're going to find something to binge on. Hey, pull in here real quick. I'm going to grab a XYZ sandwich and a couple donuts because I'm starving. Okay, well, you're already off on a bad foot. But if you just make it back to the station, you got some good nutrient dense food that all you have to do is heat up. It's already pre-made. I'm not a big believer in cooking on duty at all, for several reasons. One being the time it takes to prepare a meal at the station. There's probably a better chance you're going to get called out during that. So I get it. But you're going to put a steak on the grill and it's going to be great. All of a sudden, tones are going to go off. I take you back to Seafood Sunday to 2008. This is the last time I took the last time I did any meal preparing at the station, which was an epic disaster. We all brought some seafood. Stop me if I've told you the story, but scallops and shrimps and crab legs, and man, we took us 2 hours. We prepared all that kind of stuff, and we sat down at 6 o'clock at night to eat this thing, and the tones went off, and I did not see my plate again until 6 o'clock that morning because there was a blizzard of a lifetime, and we were literally in our ambulances for 12 hours. I've never I've since then I've always taken my food. Why? Because I can heat that shit in the microwave and scarf it down by the time I get in the truck and I've got some food. Right? Two, it saves money. Three, then you can control what kind of calories you eat and what you eat. So if you can make it back to the station, you've already had a morning. You could maybe get a protein bar in your pocket and get back to the station, have your eggs and bacon, which are not bad for you. Eggs are superfood. Stop listening. You feel good, you get your blood sugar up, write your chart, you're back in it. But rarely are you going to eat scheduled meals on duty. So it just saves you a lot of time. The other thing it does is it allows you to, so if you can not, and you're going to be in better shape at 2 a.m, after eating high protein, high fat food than you are just carb binging on the way back from every call. Ducking into this place, ducking into that place, trying to get a little fix here. Maybe you're going to rely on the hospital break room to feed you a PB&J, which at 2 a.m. are delicious, or some crackers, which is another tip. Just keep some stuff on you. Protein bar, beef jerky, whatever it is, in your pocket. We all have way too many pockets for what we use them for. Put some food in there. A package of nuts, some trail mix, something that can take the edge off of being hungry. And then at the end of the day, you haven't overeaten. You may or may not be in a calorie deficit if that's what you want. There you go. Go home, take a nap, start it all over again. Eat really good food. Over time, that compounds. So we're just talking little habits. Remember in episode 1, we talked about momentum. Just it's a small win, turns into another small win, turns into another small win, turns into a big win. But you have to be boring. Like, just eat the same shit every shift. I know it sucks. It doesn't really suck. I eat the same shit every day, basically. But that takes the guesswork out of it. That takes the guesswork out of, hey, I wonder where do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. What do you want to get? You want to get a burger? It doesn't matter. Nope. I'm sorry. I got my food. It's right here. And after a while, if you're a calorie counter, you can stop counting calories. You don't need to count calories if you're eating the same thing every day. The only people that need to count calories are people that are just starting out on some sort of calorie deficit plan to figure out that they are in fact eating too many calories in a day, and try to hit that number, to see that physical number. And then the second cohort of people that need to track their calories are the people that can't figure out what to eat in a day, so they just throw in a bunch of food in their calorie counter and go, oh, I can have that because it's only 300 calories. Well, I can tell you the problem with that is that you're going to blow your wad on all your calories before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then when 8 o'clock at night gets there, you're going to be like, shit, I can't have that. I'm out of calories. And you're starving. That's a terrible idea because you just don't know what's in it. Or you shortchange yourself and you're like, well, I'm sure that was only half a tablespoon of peanut butter when it was 4 tablespoons of peanut butter. So I can have it, and then all of a sudden you're back into reading, right? So just plan your meals. It takes a little work, yes. It takes a little time, yes. I get it. None of us are as busy, I don't think, as we think we are. I'm sure there's exceptions. It, I'm sure of it. But I think it's reasonable to assume that we can find time, if it's important to us, to just put some shit in a Tupperware thing, grab a couple protein bars, and go to work. If you're interested in what I eat in a day, it's basically the same shit. Depending on when I work out, my first meal is usually some simple carbs, half a cup of oats, a bunch of eggs. I eat a lot of protein pancakes. I eat a lot of ground beef. I eat a lot of sweet potato. It's the only vegetable I eat. I'm pretty much convinced that you don't need vegetables in your life at all, ever. Not one time. Unless you truly enjoy eating them, then that's fine. But I have no. Do you know how much broccoli you got to eat to get any fiber out of that shit? It's like 17 pounds, which is misinformation. But it's too much, and I'm not interested in doing it. I've really found no benefit to eating a whole bunch of anything. But I do love me a sweet potato, and I will eat one of those. I have the luxury of having a lot of venison in my freezer. So we eat a lot of venison, which is a very, very lean meat. But every day, every meal has protein in it. So what I try really hard to do is just, 3 good meals every day. Lunch is always a crapshoot. It's usually a snack. It might be basically my first meal of the day. Sometimes it just depends. And then usually at night, on days that I work out, I have what I call my treat, which is some Greek yogurt, protein powder, PB2, and some collagen powder mixed up with some blueberries on it. And then that's my treat for the day. But I have to earn it, in my opinion. And then that's it. And then I go to bed. And then I wake up. So we talked about your meals. Now let's talk about getting some work in. And by that, I mean some basic burn some calories. Every station has a treadmill. If you're interested, go in there at any point during your shift, set the incline to 10, walk for 30 minutes. Breathe slightly heavy. Sweat just a little bit. That in itself will do wonders. You don't have to go in there, change your clothes, do a bunch of stretching, get warmed up, pull a CrossFit workout, and then go home. You really just have to do the basics. Get in there and walk. There's always a TV in front of that thing. You can catch up on your emails. You can do whatever. Just set the treadmill at 10, incline 10, and walk. Those are the simple things. And all of a sudden, bam. Man, we got to get some new EMS pants because we're down a few LBs. And it feels good. And then we go to Susie's house because Susie's grandma fell. And Susie's grandma is a very large woman. And all of a sudden, I can get a little deeper. I can bend over just a little bit more at the waist, not the back, and help Susie's grandma up off the floor. And that's got to feel good. I get that there's a natural degradation as we get older in our systems. But you can reverse that, man. EMS is hard. It's already going to take years off your life, right? It's already physically demanding. It's between the broken sleep cycles and the back pain and the brain fog and the chronic obesity that we get into. Like, that's hard on you. And then atop that, you're getting older, which I don't believe in. Like you're only a certain way because you're a certain age. That's all bullshit. If you see any advertisement that says do this at 40, well, it was the same process at 39. So eat shit. I don't need to buy it. There's ways to slow it down. There's ways to prevent it. There's ways to win. I'm going to be 50 next year. And I'm already in that mentality of it will be the best. My 50 will be better than I'm 40. I promise you. I'm not joking. It's in whatever I can or cannot do at 50 will not be because I am the age of 50, right? It has nothing to do with it. Just get after it. But we age in this job, and we age in this job real fast. So slow it down. Be the best version of you tomorrow than you were today. But you got to put in the work. Goes beyond vanity. This goes purely to function. Can you perform your job? Are you capable, physically capable, of doing the task that you're asked to do? And if you're not, that should hurt. That should be a call to be like, listen, I need to do better. Because why would I call you for help if you are less capable than me? Does that make sense? When people call you for help, they assume you're better off than them. That's why they've called you for help. If you are physically less capable, if you cannot get Karen's grandma down the stairs or up the stairs because you're physically incapable of doing it, that should hurt. That I personally believe that you should look at that and go, I have to do some things different. That was not a good performance. I did not perform well on this game day. And I have some weaknesses and some deficiencies that I need to shore up. And it's not hard to do. It doesn't have to be complicated. Does that make sense? Do you agree with that or not agree with that? All kinds of stories. One was mountain rescue. I listened to this on the podcast one day. You know, the rescuer couldn't get the Stokes basket up the mountain, so the guy's brother went down the mountain and carried the Stokes basket up the mountain. Like that, I'd be like, shit, man. Like if another dude has to perform, do something that I'm physically incapable of doing, not only would my pride take a hit, but I'd be like, listen, I probably need to shore this up so that the next time I get into this position on my job where I'm getting paid to do, I'm getting paid to perform at a certain level, somebody is paying me to get Karen's grandma up the stairs. I need to make sure that I can get Karen's grandma up the stairs. Right? That shouldn't be controversial. Recovery after your shift physically is just as important. I'm a big believer in mobility and stretching to make sure that I can get myself in good positions. Injuries, I understand, will limit you to that. But there's no reason if you have a sore back that you shouldn't be stretching that sore back out every night before you go to bed. Or if you've got hip tightness and it's stopping you from getting into a good position on the bottom to pick up Karen's grandma off the floor, that you shouldn't be working on that limitation. Find your weaknesses and work on your weaknesses. If you don't know how to do it, there's so much information on the internet. Like it's mind blowing, which is kind of a catch-22, right? Like it's hard to sort through the weeds. But at the same time, there's so many resources out there to figure out the best way to. I mean, if you take fad diets out of it, like everybody's got their thing. It doesn't matter what, if you do carnivore, keto, South Beach, Weight Watchers, nobody gives a shit. The point of it is that are you eating in a calorie deficit because you're interested in losing weight or you're not? So it doesn't really matter what you eat. It's how much you eat. Now, 1,000 calories of Snickers is not the same as 1,000 calories of chicken breast and sweet potatoes. So you're not going to, those 1,000 calories of Snickers are not going to go far. You're not going to get a lot of, consider the 1,000 calories of Snickers an electric car. You're not going to get very far before you got to charge it up again. Consider venison, beef, sweet potatoes, fossil fuels. You can go wherever the fuck you want. And you're going to go a long ways. And your engine's going to run real smooth. That's my metaphor. Come at me with, here's why you're wrong, Jason. Okay. You want the secret? There isn't one. It's hard work. It's consistency. We didn't get overweight as a service in a month. So we're certainly not going to lose that weight in a month. Or, we didn't get weak in a month. And certainly not going to, it's going to take more than months to get strong, is what I'm saying. So we have all winter. Here's my promise to you. I get sweatpants season is upon us, and it is my favorite season of the year because nothing makes me feel better about bad decisions than an elastic waistband. But I'm not doing it this year. I'm not going to put on that winter 10. I'm going to stay right after it, and I'm going to emerge in the spring a much better version of myself that I went in on the winter because 50's coming. I promise. That's my promise to you. I'm going to do it. Let's do it together. Don't wait till New Year's. Okay? The New Year's resolution is bullshit. If you can do it on January 1st, you can do it today. Right? Just build some momentum. Go back to episode 1. Let's do it. Quickly before I go, I know that I've been rambling a lot. This whole Wegovy, Ozempic bullshit. I've seen on the internets where people are mad at people taking Wegovy, or they'll say, "Oh my God, you shouldn't take that because you'll piss fire and shit blood." I don't know that any of that's true. I'm just saying you can't have it both ways. We can't have an overweight society and then everybody bitch that everybody's overweight. And then when people are actually doing something about it, going, well, you can't do that either. Like, listen, if you have to take Wegovy or Ozempic to lose the weight, I'm on your team. Do it. If whatever the side effects of that medication are, you're willing to trade that for weight loss, I'm on your team. Because what's worse than nausea and whatever other side effects go along with that, being overweight, that's worse. It exponentiates every disease process known to man. Cardiovascular disease, cancer, neurogenic disease, metabolic disease, being overweight or obese, compounds all of that tenfold. That's not science. I made that shit up. But it certainly doesn't make it easy. So if you have to, if whatever you need to do, I'm on your team. Let's do it. Get it. Get any questions, problems, concerns, let me know. Not sure what next week holds. Not necessarily a busy week. I just got to find something to talk shit about. I'm sure it'll come to me. I usually get pretty inspired when I go for a walk or something will happen at work. Speaking of which, we hired a new guy. Apparently, back in the day, he was 290 pounds. He's down to a svelte 217. Just doing it hard work. Calorie deficit, going for runs. He just sent me a picture. Oh, that's not the picture I thought it'd be. It's a lot of bacon. But bacon's good for you, so don't fear the bacon. Don't fear the eggs. All right? That's it. Everybody work hard. Be kind. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Shift Change Podcast. I need to ask if you would leave a rating. I think that it helps people who are new to the podcast find it quicker. It doesn't do me any good, but it does help other people that are looking for the Shift Change Podcast on Spotify or Apple. It just comes up quicker the more ratings that you give it. Whether you give it a 2 or a 5, it doesn't make a difference. It just helps other people. If you need to get a hold of me, contact me via my email, the show email, which is talkshiftchange@gmail.com. Or you can message me on Instagram at talk.shiftchange. Excuse me, at talk.shiftchange on Instagram. As always, thanks for listening. I could not have imagined how well this podcast has been received. So, as always, I appreciate it. Work hard, be kind.